My guest today is Lyn Toomey, and Debbie is the founder of Ultimate Healing Journey and believes in a holistic approach to optimal health and well-being. As an author, international speaker, and coach, she teaches happiness skills to overwhelmed and busy people to boost their positivity, performance, and productivity. She's a health and happiness specialist, a nurse, a laughter yoga leader, and positive psychology practitioner. She's the author of two books: The Happiness Result, More Time, More Love, More Health, More Success, 7 Simple Techniques to Create Your Awesome Life, and The Happiness Result, Goals, Gratitudes, and Success Journal, a workbook for manifesting goals, giving thanks, and celebrating successes along the way. And she's a regular blogger for the Huffington Post and a featured speaker at the TEDx event in the summer of 2017 in LA. Well, welcome, Debbie, after all of that. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me on your show today. Thank you, Gail.
Well, I'm happy to have you here. And of course, we've certainly had our laughter trying to get this thing worked out with technology. So I've
Yes.
given a little bit of your background, but did you actually start out as a nurse? Is that how you got into all of this, or how did this all come about?
Yes, I did start out as a nurse. I've been a nurse for over 25 years. And ever since I was little, I always valued helping people feel better. And that translated into me going into nursing school because I didn't want to, I thought about becoming a doctor, but just took too long. And frankly, I needed my sleep. I heard about how, long it takes to get your MD. So I wanted to really get out there and start helping people. And that's why I became a nurse and been doing that for over 25 years in a Boston hospital, Tufts Medical Center.
Well, I went to school in Boston. I'm a graduate of Emerson College, and that's where I did my first radio shows. So
Nice.
interestingly enough, all these years later, here I am again in the same place. But since you were a nurse, and nurses are, in fact, they say that if you want something done right, make sure you have a nurse because you guys really take charge of everything. What led you
That's
to
right.
starting your own company?
Well, it's being a nurse for over 25 years. I've taken care of so many patients who keep coming back and forth with stress-related ailments that could have been prevented if they had known simple yet practical techniques to help reduce their stress. And I wanted to start empowering people in the communities, in corporations, in different situations to help them really start tapping into their inner physician, their inner wisdom, to help them reduce stress and to have that wellness, that feeling of goodness in their life so that way they can start making more and more healthier choices. And that's what led me to start my company, Ultimate Healing Journey.
Well, you started, I know you would have the information to be a health specialist, but I started out the last 10 years really because I was always working in business and doing business consulting and speaking and training, and then I started working with the over 50 population and talking about joy and happiness and so forth, and I found that even though they loved it, they didn't really want to buy happiness. They just didn't want to pay for it. So how did you get started as a happiness specialist? And do you find people are willing to spend their dollars on that?
Well, I got started from studying positive psychology, which is the science of happiness and optimum human performance. And that's what gave me so much more of a leverage. And prior to that, I was doing lots of workshops on lunch and learns, on laughter being the best medicine, and doing stress reduction workshops. But it wasn't until I really started studying and embracing positive psychology with all of its sciences, that's when I was able to really start putting the self-help techniques that I was teaching to the communities, to different groups. I was able to give it more substance in a research type of way, to give them an idea that when they do certain techniques, no matter how simple, there is research proven that backs that they are good for our mind, body, and spirit. And that's how I started to incorporate more of the happiness skills. Because again, being a nurse, I'm taking care of not only patients who come in with stress-related ailments, but healthy people with mental, emotional issues, because they didn't have that happiness or ways to tap into their happiness genes to help them feel more whole and complete. And so I discovered that health really is nothing unless you're happy. And that's why I started.
Absolutely true. Oh, Debbie, you have just really, you're absolutely 100% correct. I mean, in fact, I was addressing a group of very successful businessmen, and there were, I think, maybe 2 women in the whole group, but it was mostly male. And they were all extremely high earners and very successful. And I said to them, I said, what is the purpose of you working so hard every day and having all this money if you don't enjoy yourself? I said, how many of you, and they're kind of all looking at each other, I said, how many of you wake up in the morning with a smile and go to bed with a smile and laugh during the day? And of course they all look together, you know, kind of thing. But it's true. I mean, if you can't laugh and if you can't enjoy yourself during the day, what is the point of it all? So I totally agree with you. So what would you say your overall message is of your company when you call yourself the ultimate healing journey? Do people come to you expecting magic? You know, I mean, a lot of people just kind of want a magic pill.
Right. That's definitely something one of the things I say up front is there's no magic pill. And what they could do is they need to start doing something small every day, cultivating a positive habit. It doesn't have to be big, just something small to help them start training their brain to start looking for good things in their life, or for them to start appreciating more goodness in their lives. And when they can start doing that, then they start feeling more connected with who they are, their purpose, with other people, with their environment, their community. It gives them, we are human beings, so we need to feel a certain level of connection with other living beings. I mean, relationship is one of the most predictors of having a healthy and happy life. So us being able to relate to other living beings is very, very important. So that's basically, you know, how I start with by saying we could use happiness to fuel our overall success. That's my mission, is to just bring out that awareness that we have it within ourselves to start exercising our happiness genes. Some people are born with more, some people are born with less, but it doesn't matter. We have different simple techniques to help start bringing out more of that happiness, meaning,
well, you know, I totally agree with you. And I'm just wondering here, because I'm such an animal nut. And I have to tell you, when I look at my pets, you know, I smile and I stroke them and I talk to them and they talk back to me and so forth. Do you think sometimes by bringing an animal into someone's life that it gives them a kind of happiness they never saw before?
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. Because it just helps us to be able to, some people are just not people. They would rather be by themselves out in nature. They would rather be with their pets. So having more of maybe plants, maybe animals, maybe having just something more that can make them feel good inside, feel connected. So people who love pets, they feel connected with their special family member. So why not? Why not?
Well, you know, they say that when you bring a
right?
pet into a nursing home, it makes a big difference.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. because they're just so full of love. They're loyal, and they're there to touch you and to curl up with you. And touch is very important for us human beings. So getting touch or having a warm being to sit by us or just to kind of be there for us is very important.
So do you think that happiness can be learned? And if so, what would your approach be to that?
Certainly, yes, happiness can be learned. It's a skill that can be learned. And my approach is through the 7 different pillars that I write about in my book. And that pillar, it has an acronym, which is AWESOME. And it stands for authenticity, wonderment, empowerment, self-compassion, optimism, mindfulness, and enjoyment. So those are different practices that people can apply in their lives. And within the practices are different techniques. So for mindfulness, there are different ways, different skills, different techniques that we could start implementing into our lives to help us feel much better. Something as simple as adjusting the way we stand, having more of a power pose to help us become more confident, or taking deep breaths to help us feel more nourished and more calm or energized, depending on the breathing technique, or meditating or practicing self-compassion. So there's so many different simple techniques that people can start practicing into their daily lives that really doesn't require a lot of money, but it just requires their commitment to do it consistently.
So what groups have you worked with? I mean, do you work individually, or do you work as a group specialist, or how does it all come to be?
I do coaching one-to-one, and I do corporate trainings, and I do workshops as well. I've worked and I've been blessed to work with or be in front of cancer survivors, their caregivers, doctors, nurses, professionals, teachers, professors, people in the church, people who are grieving, kids. I've done a gratitude and mindfulness program for kids, and they absolutely love it because they're given simple tools to help them reduce their stress, because kids have stress too. So empowering them with different skills to help them with anxieties before tests, or, giving them different tools to help them relate more with their siblings or parents, helping them to do different techniques to help them to sleep better. They're very simple. So the principles and practices and techniques that I teach are basically the same, but it just depends on the group of people that I'm in front of, and making the techniques really practical for, what's going on in their life.
So when you go into the corporate arena, though, and teach about happiness, what kinds of things do the people who hire you ask you to talk about?
They want to learn how to have more positivity in their workplace. And that translates into having better communication, having more appreciation, having more connection or understanding or recognition. So that translates into me teaching them about their strengths. I believe when people start working with their strengths, then they'll be able to use their positive tools that they already were born with to help them perform even better at work, and teaching them how to spot it in their peers. So that way, when they have to deal with other people in their team or other departments, they're able to strength spot within that department, so that way they could adjust how they approach the individual and appreciate the other people's strengths. Teaching them mindfulness skills to help reduce the stress, to help reduce the mental chatter that's going on in their mind that could be the filter that's preventing them from hearing what is actually going on or being introduced in the company. So teaching them, actually one of the things that they really embraced is the self-compassion piece, and teaching and empowering people to give themselves permission to be human, and to give them that that space to say, you know what, yes, we made a mistake, but we're all human. You're not the only one. Let's learn from this. Let's move on.
Yeah,
That's very,
that's the
very
key.
empowering.
Yeah,
Yes.
to be able to move on.